Blessings and welcome. Welcome, my friends, relations. Today is a day of realization, of gentle purification and cleansing, of surrender and humility. So we create an offering of sage, and we recognize all the places and the spaces that we are ready to let go. They keep us bound to unforgiveness. They keep us bound to fear. They keep us bound to the version of ourselves with the small s. And as we release those parts of self that no longer are in alignment with truth, the truth of you, of me, of all of us, individually and collectively, are given the correct conditions to be seen, to be grounded, to be present, here, now, and evermore. And you know, it gets easier and easier. The more you say yes to your higher self, the more you say yes to love, to healing, to light, the easier it becomes. The easier it becomes to turn a corner, to repattern subconscious, unconscious, mental, emotional, chemical patterns, habits, addictions. It's all about saying yes to love. So today we say yes to love. Blessings, Will. Thank you for joining. I'm so very grateful to be here with you, everyone. I love this community. Thank you, everyone in the 4DT community, the YouTube University community, and all of the subscribers. Every week there's more and more subscribers. Thank you so much for checking out this channel. I pray and I affirm that everything I share here truly serves your path of spiritual growth and sovereignty, your freedom, your liberation, your freedom from the ties that bind you to limitations and lack and scarcity of the world, of the way the world thinks, of the way the world sees. We move into a different realm where there is plenty, where everything is provided for in the most high ways when we step out of the way. When we try less to make things happen and we simply allow. This is 4D Trinity, my weekly live stream. And it's all about bridging fourth dimensional consciousness, that is the Christ consciousness, the love, the God channel, if you will. And here at 4DT, God is love. There's no agenda, there's no religion, there's no judgment. Yet know that I'm probably going to say the God word a few times today, given our theme. And really, it translates to love. Love without an opposite, that is. And that's our 4D consciousness, where we move out of dual thinking, dual patterning, doing this because of that, where we really learn how to cherish, appreciate, acknowledge, and relax into the now moment. That's the God moment. That's the love channel. That's the freedom and the sovereignty, right? Where we are not hooked into the past or the future, but we simply are. And it is in that peaceful, relaxed state where we are R-ing, where we are being, that everything gets taken care of. The other night I was out having a sagerette and I had this funny thought. And it was about this way that we think we have to make things happen. And agreeable, there's this interesting bridge that happens through the 3D and the 4D, where there's a certain amount of physical 3D, worldly activation that we show up as and participate in order to create the correct conditions to create those momentums whereby the realities that we wish to experience come to pass. Yet we learn as we master our time and space, as we become a master of ourselves, by knowing thyself, by healing our lives, by showing up, cultivating a discipline, when we start to activate the release, the shutting down of those old patterns that have kept us bound to the past. And we start to move into a different level of truth. And again, that's the truth of you. And it sounds so very simple, and really it is. Yet as we begin to allow ourselves, give ourselves permission, mission, it's your mission. Give yourself permission to live you, to live the truth of you. Well, the whole world starts to change. You start to light up from the inside out. And here at 4DT, and on many of the videos that I share here, your truth is always with you. It's not something that you have to go find, although sometimes, I know for some friends, a trip to Bali, a Reiki attunement, something, will help them come into that, that alignment, because there's again, it's not adding something that you aren't already. It's the surrendering and releasing that which is no longer true. And that starts to happen for us as we enter the heart space. Remember last week we did the violet flame. I'll come back and I'll put a link up top. It's very powerful, getting the pilot light of your heart chakra turned on. When we start to master the first lower 3 chakras, and we start to cultivate a sense of faith. And faith is a very important value that we're going to talk about today, because our theme is the power of thoughts and words. And it's interesting that this is this theme this week, because I had an interesting experience on Instagram, and I want to share about it, and it inspired today's show. So before we go on, thank you everyone for being here. Do drop a comment in the comment box. I would be so very grateful. And I'm going to have a look. I believe, see, after a while, even though I need the glasses to see it, I get to know the little colors of your little icons. So I knew that was Will. Blessings. Enjoy tap class, Will. Life is so beautiful. So, faith, prayer, thoughts, and words. What thoughts do you think every day about money, about your body, about your family, about your lover, your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, about school, about your work, your career, your health, your car, all of it? And which serve you, which feel resonant, which make you feel good, and which sort of box you into a corner and reinforce a sense of lack, a sense of scarcity. A master, as we learn self-mastery and we become a master of our tongue, we don't just speak without mindfulness, right? As we become enlightened, we become more and more aware of the absolute power of our words, the absolute power of our thoughts, the absolute power of our prayers. Through direct experience, we become enlightened through the experience of practicing impeccable word, impeccable thought, and prayer. And we start to experience results in ways that are beautiful, blessed, and positive for one and all. And that's when life starts to really ramp up. But there's stages, of course. We're going to talk about that today. So first of all, I do want to read you what inspired this post. If you are new, welcome, and thank you for stopping by. If you enjoy the material that I share, I'd be so grateful if you hit the subscribe button and the bell. Pardon me, I'm just looking over here to the side. I'm going onto my phone because I want to read you a post. As you know, or if you don't know, I'm on Instagram. And again, if you enjoy these videos, follow. All of my links are down in the description box, in the show more box. I'm an author, speaker, facilitator of many, many healing modalities. And all of my information is down below. If you are interested to sign up for my monthly love letter from my website, that link is down there too. If you just have questions or comments, my email is down below, and I'm happy to receive and communicate. So it's very interesting, you know, in this realm of where there's a lot of political, social justice, male-female energies that are being highlighted and healed at this time. And I go on Instagram. That's my go-to. This Instagram and YouTube are my platforms. And I follow a lot of amazing people that are very, very inspiring. And I found this post from someone who I felt for the couple years I've been following him is extremely in tune and extremely aligned and really seeing the bigger picture. And I was very, very shocked when I saw a post from him, and I'm not going to say who, but when I saw a post from him that was demeaning this quote that's going around, right? And now granted, there's levels, and I'm going to read you what I posted about it here shortly. Yet this idea of, you know, there's all of these atrocities and hurricanes and whatever going on in the world, and people say, or they'll post, you'll see a post on Instagram, you know, sending thoughts and prayers to the hurricane victims, sending thoughts and prayers to, you know, the slave trade, the child sex trafficking thing, what, you know, there's take your pick. There's so many things in the 3D that we can send our thoughts and prayers. And they've even started saying it on the news. I saw on the Instagram, you know, different people that I follow, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. On the news, they would talk about one of the hurricanes or something, and they would say, we're sending our thoughts and prayers, right? So anyway, I follow this one cat, and he had posted something that was in the vein of, your thoughts and prayers aren't enough. You need to get off your ass and do something and show up and do the work. Like, get out there on the, you know, on the front lines. And I understand that. I understand in that moment that individual's frustration. Yet I also know from direct experience that both facets of taking action, if you will, are equally as powerful and potent. One does not do more than the other. In fact, they each hold space for one another. All the people that are sending out their thoughts and their prayers, like really consciously from the heart, not just repeating that as a phrase to throw around, but that are really holding space for the highest good of this planet or for individual situations, whatever it might be, they're actually creating a labyrinth in the matrix, in the grid field of collective consciousness, whereby those that are motivated, inspired, and truly guided by their higher self to go out in the 3D and get their hands dirty and do that kind of work. Whether you're, you know, going to Ghana and helping little babies, starving babies to eat, whether you're, like as I've mentioned, a dentist of mine goes to Nicaragua every year and she does free dentistry for children. She goes there for 3 weeks and that's her service. You know, there's people on the front lines picketing. There's no judgment, there's no right or wrong, yet I felt, oh, this is interesting. This person that I felt for many years has just like, always has this like really enlightened, like balanced view, you know, an offering in his post. And so it kind of shocked me when I felt that and read that in one of his posts. So I want to share with you something that I posted last week in regards to that, that is connected to our theme. Ah, blessings, April. You see, I put my glasses on and then I can read the comments. So I'll just show you the little picture. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a woman, a violet woman, rainbow energy praying. There is a conversation going around that speaks to all of the imbalances in the world, be it weather/hurricane tragedies, police brutalities, global injustices, and really the list can go on and on. And within that conversation, the term "our thoughts and prayers are with you" keeps coming up. This term comes up because it has become a go-to phrase that many speak in the face of such happenings. Those who are dissing the term idea of responding with the phrase, our thoughts and prayers are with you. And understandably, perhaps the mere robotic response and uttering of such words can be of little impact when done so without pure intent and heart. Yet when you really take pause and truly see those in need being helped / served in your mind's eye, and when you really center, connect with Source and pray from your heart, that is when we allow a power greater than us to go to work. Love. In the light of love, our full power as a conscious collective calibrates, and miracles of a divine design begin to manifest for the highest good of all. Do not be distracted by those who tell you you need to do more. If it was true, you'd be doing more. For those who do more in way of physical action, thank you for following your guidance to do so. And to all that truly are guided to hold space and think in light and pray in love, equally so, thank you. We all have a distinct personal curriculum here, and unique ways we all hold space. It was very important to me to respond. And I didn't respond to that person's post. That was just on my own wall. That it's really important that everyone be recognized, and also that the value of that conscious clear thought and conscious clear prayer is omnipotent, is beyond time and space, you see. And so I was a little bit shocked, because I held this person not on a pedestal, but I was like, oh, they enlightened. They know what's going down. You see, and when you get angry at people for not responding the way you think they need to react, then there's judgment, there's separation, and then there's lack, because then all of a sudden we're believing that things are not perfectly in its divine alignment, no matter what it looks like. And I know you can say, what about this and what about that? And the list goes on, you see, but that's the world. And what we do here at 4D Trinity is we bridge heaven on earth. And earth is the 4D. Earth is a very different plane of existence than the 3D, where all the atrocities and the crazy Illuminatis and all this stuff is going on. That's the hamster wheel. And it is what it is. You can hang out there. Yet, let us be mindful of not judging anyone for anything. Because the moment that happens, we've actually given our power away to the dark side, or to whatever it is that we think needs to be changed or fixed. You see, here at 4D Trinity, we're not here becoming heaven on earth realized and enlightened to change the world from the outside in, or to fix the world. The world is doing what it does. This is what 3D does. Illuminati, dark forces, light forces, that's the polarity of the loom of consciousness. That's what we do here, until we remember that we can do more here, that we can bridge heaven on earth here, that we can align with the heart and begin to exercise trust and love and faith in a way that we never have before in this lifetime, perhaps, so that we can remember our truth, and so that we can remember the metaphysical potency of your frequency, whether you say a word or not, whether you don't even speak words, you only have thoughts and prayers. And if they're coming alchemically from the truth of your heart, realization, in alignment with a sincere intent, that is us getting out of the way and allowing for the higher good to take place. It reminds me, I think it's in my book, The REIKI Apprentice, there was a very angry girl. We were living on the mountain in Greece in the late 90s. No electricity, no running water, nothing. It was just very, very rustic. And people would come to the mountain. It was rainbow people. People would come to the mountain over many months to set up for a beautiful festival that happened. But there was all sorts of people. And there was this one lady who arrived with her crew. And she was the angry girl. And she you know, in her meditations was like, we need to build this like monument to the great, you know, spirit of something, something. And I remember, because every morning we'd have a talking circle, and you would pass a talking stick, and some people would speak, some people would just pass it. So everyone would be heard in the morning, everyone who was in the talking circle before breakfast. And we were just living off of the land, and it was really powerful and very beautiful. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles away from anyone, any village, way up in the high mountains of Greece, near Albania, near the Albanian border, just so you have a little geographical idea. So this lady gets the talking stick, and already like everyone's like, whoa, because she's just like, we need to do this. Like she was already angry before she'd even like expressed what her vision was. And that had instantly kind of turned people off, because she was like forcing an agenda down people's throats. And everyone was like, oh, okay, peace and love, sister, peace and love, you know, like no judgment. We're just all observing, like, this is interesting. And every day, the talking circle, she'd get more and more worked up because no one was showing up on the mound where she thought we needed to all build this spiritual sculpture to this great, I can't even remember what the great spirit or whatever it was. But because she would get so wound up and her energy was actually very spiky, and it was judging us for not wanting to get up. She didn't realize it, but she was judging us and making us feel like stupid fucking fools for not joining her in this thing that was her vision and her download. And I just remember, like, after the third or fourth day of her getting like more and more, you know, in a fuss, I was like, wow, if she maybe had approached this in a different way, you know, there'd probably be some takers. Because every day then you'd see her on the mound, like sweating, all alone, lugging the mud to do the clay things, to build this thing. It's all very rustic, remember? And every day, no one was helping her. And every day she'd get up at the talking circle and she'd be more and more pissed off and frustrated with all of us because we're not joining in to help her. So that's what I'm saying, is that there's this interesting fine line of, you know, accusing others or telling other people what they need to think or what they need to do. It's not allowing you to be in your sovereignty, to be relaxed, to be in tune with the now moment of love and only love. It is perpetuating a sense of judgment on those other people or places or things for not showing up in the way that you think that you're dictating that they should. Especially when it's done with anger and with need. And like, we have to do it right now. And if no one else is like getting your vibe or your vision, you know, then maybe it's your vision. You know, it ended up that she built this thing all on her own because no one wanted to play with her. No one wanted to play with her. I didn't want to play with her. It's like, oh, that's kind of, I'm going to go meditate in the trees, do yoga in the shade. That'd be a lot more fun. So the point is that our thoughts and our words, and like this person on Instagram that was like, you know, calling out, you know, anyone who's not, you know, physically flying out to Puerto Rico right now to like help. Interesting thing. And what is that? That's criticism, that's complaining, that's lack of consciousness. That's way far away from the spectrum of trust, faith, love, and allowing a higher order to take place. And now granted, if you are one of the people that are like, I need to go to Puerto Rico and help those in need and help rebuild houses, and you know that's your calling, bless you. Bless you. Make it so. Juicy. That's your path. That's your mission. Rock it out. Yet, don't tell me what my mission is. And I guess I'm speaking for those who resonate with it. And so we get to be very mindful as we become enlightened, because, you know, we realize the separation consciousness. We realize then all our meditations and our Reikis and our yogas and all the ways that we practice to bring us back into that oneness. My brother, my sister, my family, my relations, we are one. That kind of consciousness of unity consciousness, namaste consciousness, without judging. You know, and then all of a sudden, someone pretty enlightened throws a spanner in there, and it's like, wait. Let's come back. Let's come back to allowing. To allowing, you know? And now, granted, I don't know, and I get to be mindful of judging that person for my perceived way that I was thinking that they were judging, right? We get to be careful then that we don't turn into that. It's a tricky, complex labyrinth. Yet, when you keep asking love or God to show you the truth, and you listen, you quiet, and you listen, and you allow the vision, the feeling, the frequency to come, and you stay in line with that, right? Then you can use this, as I'm doing as an offering, just to paint a picture, right? And I don't know if this individual was following their higher self's guidance to make those kinds of comments. Perhaps it did put a little fire under some people's bums, so to speak, that just needed to have that one extra little nudge. Maybe they have been thinking to go and, you know, work with orphans, or to go and help out at a rescue shelter with animals, you know, to do whatever it is for them that's their thing. You know, we all have a thing until we don't have anything. Like save the whales, you know, rescue dogs or kittens, or the sex trade, or the slave trade, or the, you know, GMOs, Illuminati, you know, whatever it is, you all, we, and I speak generally, and I'm just saying we, but maybe it's not you. But it seems to be the way that we have these things that we're attached to that we feel that need changing, and then we get over that. Once we realize that that's actually illusion, we get over needing to change it, and we stop showing up to change it. But we start showing up, if we're guided to simply be the presence of love in those spaces and places, but not to try to change anything or anyone at all. And I know it's tricky. If you're kind of like, okay, I get it, but like, what? I know. And it's only through experience and over experiences that we begin to like marinate in those realizations that it all comes clearer. And again, not to get caught in the judging, right? But I think it was credible enough, it was important enough that it inspired the show. Because yes, our thoughts and our prayers are absolutely powerful. And we're going to get into it. What I want to talk to you about is there's a couple other posts that I thought were very interesting. And one of them by Universe in You, spelled Y-O-U. What are the most powerful words in the universe? Question, right? And then it says, the ones you use to talk to yourself. And it's by Karen Salmonson. The most important words of the universe are the ones you use to talk to yourself. What are you saying? Are you even aware of what you're saying? To me, to yourself, to others, to yourself in privacy? Are you on repeat? Can you think of ways that you can start to speak about your body, your health, your life, your finances in more and more ways that truly serve your wellness, your happiness, your health? And these are just little snippets that last night on Instagram I took screenshots of to share today. There's just two more. By Conscious Collective, when you realize that your perception of reality is a projection of your own mind. When you realize that your perception of reality is a projection of your own mind. And your mind are your words, your mind is your thoughts. And then the last one, another one by Conscious Collective. The mind in its natural state can be compared to the sky, covered by layers of cloud which hide its true nature, by Kalu Rinpoche. It's the God. Hello. Hi, God. Yes. Thoughts and prayers. God is saying that thoughts and prayers are the same thing. I just got to chill down my legs. Thoughts and prayers are the same thing. God is saying we pray constantly through the thoughts that we think. Whoa. Yes, I was totally going to break it down with our grid art and stuff. Okay, so we're going to do that for sure. What did you say? Thoughts and prayers are the same thing. Wow. They hold equal weight in the metaphysical collective of the universe. That's incredible. So what's up, God? How are you? I always ask, and God's always like, God is, I am good. Yes, and God just wants to remind us that God, in this context, on this show, maybe other places, God is all things to everyone. But here, God is love and only love. God is love without an opposite. It is the frequency. That word, I know, is very charged. Now, this is me talking. The word, I know, is very charged. And there's so many different definitions to it and experiences of it. Yet, right now, what this frequency is channeling through the phone is that let's start to, as it resonates for you in a good way, we can start to think about God as love and only love, not love versus fear or God versus the devil. Love, just love. Yeah, I know. Right now it's like, it's a big one. And God says that God, the frequency, is love without fear or judgment. Love without fear or judgment. That's beautiful. Okay. Yes. From the Song of Prayer from A Course in Miracles. Yes. Blessings. God says hello and namaste, everyone. Namaste, God. You're awesome. Thank you. God says enjoy a blessed day. We are. Namaste. How cool is that? God just like always calls on this show. So it's very interesting getting into our conversation on thoughts and prayer. So this is a book, you know, as you know, if you're a regular, I'm a student of A Course in Miracles, about 4 years now. And it came into my life at a time that I think was perfectly divinely ordained and divine timing. Because I probably went through the most tragic upheavals in my life ever at the time when that book and these teachings were starting to come and align through my consciousness. There's different versions. This is one of the more traditional versions of A Course in Miracles. And depending on what version you get, there's supplements. And in my version that I have, it doesn't have the extra supplements. So I've found a few online and in random places that they have been gifted. And the God Phone today is inviting us to read on prayer. So we're going to skip around here. If you do have this booklet, I'm starting on page 2, and we're going to skip around just for a few pages. The most of true prayer is to forget the things you think you need. The secret of true prayer is to forget the things you think you need. Now, how about that? When you pray, how do you pray? Just take a moment. When's the last time you prayed? And you're not wrong if you don't pray or if you haven't prayed in like 2 years or something. Take a moment to think about it though. When's the last time you prayed? And what was that prayer like? What was that prayer about? Do you remember how do you initiate your prayers? What do you say? Just think about it for a moment. So it's interesting. The secret of true prayer is to forget the things you think you need. Prayer is a stepping aside, a letting go, a quiet time of listening and loving. It should not be confused with supplication of any kind, because it is a way of remembering your holiness. Prayer is a way of remembering your holiness. Isn't that beautiful? It's a stepping aside, a letting go. So we're getting closer here. The ladder of prayer. Prayer has no beginning and no end. It is a part of life. But it does change in form and grow with learning until it reaches its formless state and fuses into total communion and communication with God. In its asking form, it need not, and often does not, make appeal to God or even involve belief in God. At these levels, prayer is merely wanting out of a sense of scarcity and lack. So this is speaking to this notion and this idea that that you're praying out of need and of lack. You're praying out of scarcity and lack consciousness, that when we pray and we ask for what we think we need, what this is saying is that we're missing the greater potency and power that prayer is for us. Because in fact, we are limiting the avenues of possibility through which the grand design can provide for us and create correct conditions for all things to be blessed and to be brought into a state of wellness, of wholeness, of healing. And so when we're asking out of need, God, please, I really need to make my rent. God, heal my foot. I just broke my foot, bubble of light. I really, God, praying, please heal my foot. And I know it's tricky, and A Course in Miracles is tricky if you start doing it, because it's a mind training, and it starts to train your mind out of thinking in fear and to thinking in a way of love, which is very powerful. It really challenges us right out of the gate. The first lesson, you do a lesson every day, and the first lesson is like, what? You know, if you have a very rigid way that you see things in the world, within the first few lessons, it's asking you to like, let that shit go. Get back to zero, get back to the child's mind, the innocence of like, I don't know. I know nothing. And when we don't know anything, then love is allowed to reside. And eventually what we learn in A Course in Miracles, and maybe it's not your course, maybe there's other ways that you're guided to learn, you know, whatever it is for your spiritual path. Yet here we often, it'll come up often, these teachings, these aspects in it. But what we learn and what we come back to is this remembering that everything's already taken care of. That as a child of God, whichever word you want to use, as an extension of that which is all holy and all divine, everything's already done, you see. And so when we pray and we ask for things to be taken care of, we're assuming that God doesn't have it on their list. Don't forget about me. I need those new shoes, God. I need those new tires for my car, or whatever it is, right? But ultimately, what that little quote was already inviting us to is this aspect of remembering that it's already taken care of, you see, and that's the metaphysics of trust, of faith. Prayer is each prayer is a little packet of faith. When I pray, I often will say thank you. And whoever I'm praying to, thank you, Saint Germain. Thank you, Violet Flame. Thank you, love. Thank you, my angels. Thank you, dear Holy Spirit. Thank you, dear God, for helping me to maintain my center, my clarity, my discipline in the face of my addictions, my discipline in the face of my triggers with certain family members, food, drugs, with, you know, whatever it is. Thank you. So I'm inviting you to consider that prayer is a testimony. When you pray, think of it creatively, if you would, that you are affirming. And again, I don't know if I even said this yet, but in my life, I was not brought up with any religious doctrine at all. I have a very, very, very faithful grandmother who has prayed in front of me and taught me how to pray since I was little. And she prays. We have Mexican blood on my mother's side. We're Mexican on that side. And she's always prayed to the Virgin of Guadalupe and to Jesus Christ. But she's not a devout, she doesn't label herself. And so that's how I was brought up, with just this awareness of this like powerful prayer energy to the Christ or to this Virgin of Guadalupe. And so anyway, again, the point is that I'm not here to push any doctrine or to get religious on you. So even if the word God floats around, remembering that God here at 4D Trinity is the same thing as love. But remember, it's love and only love. Love without an opposite. And as we start to really surrender, because to even come into trusting that, because in many ways, is it a judgment? In a bubble of light, I'll just share. I don't know, because I haven't been in that process in my life. I haven't had that, where I had to go to church every weekend and go to Catholic school or any of that stuff. Yet it seems that that kind of God, definitely there's a fear, right? There's a love and a fear thing, grid going on. Where we're going to with 4D consciousness is the love and only love grid. So when you pray, you're testifying. So what I was going to say is that, you know, over the years, you have experiences, you see things on TV or you travel. And I've seen people, when they pray, they speak like it's already done. And they might shout, they might scream, they might get emotional, they might sing, they might stomp their feet, they might raise their hands. Thank you, Lord, for giving me the strength. You know, whatever it might be. But there's this positive conviction of faith. And sometimes there is like a raising of a voice and a little fiery momentum, because sometimes you're burning through the veils of the tar body that is right there saying, nope, destruction, death. Yeah, you should be afraid. You should be angry. You should be pissed off at everything. And that should totally consume you to the point where your health becomes ill, to the point where you've forgotten who you are when you're peaceful and quiet. Tar body loves that. And remember, the world, the earth, well, I'll stop at the world, has a tar body, just like we do. I'll put up some links in the corner later when I come back. I think there's even a little thing that I did back in 2010 or 2009 up here on the Metaphysical Mind playlist. And I might have back then called it the Earth's tar body. Now, as you know, if you follow me, there's a distinct difference between the world, 3D consciousness, and the Earth, 4D consciousness. But again, that was, you know, almost 10 years ago. So it was a different game we were playing. It was the same game, but different language of light, right? That we're now implementing new words with new meanings. So let's continue. Prayer has no beginning, no end. It is every thought you have is a prayer, and every prayer you have is a thought. So whether we're aware of it or not, we're constantly praying. What are you praying for? What do you think about? What do you talk about all the time? Because that's your reality. But it does change in form and grow with learning until it reaches its formless state and fuses into total communication with God. In its asking form, it need not and often does not make appeal to God or even involve belief in God. At these levels, prayer is merely wanting out of a sense of scarcity and lack. Okay, so we covered that. Let's go back here, though, a moment. But it does change, prayer does change in form and grow with learning until it reaches its formless state and fuses into total communication with God. So what this speaks to, and what I have experience with, and you, I'm sure, have too, is that there are times and places that we pray, and maybe prayer is a constant, and that's your thing. And again, there's no judgment. I'm not saying that you need to pray or you don't need to pray, or that it's right or it's wrong, or I'm not telling anybody how to pray at all. Yet in my experience, what I've realized is that the more that you unyou yourself, right, and you let go of the self with the small s, all the pain, all the fear, all the hurt, all the anger, all the sadness, all the blame, all the shame, all the stuff that holds us bound to the gravity of the grid, the matrix, the collective consciousness, the labyrinth of mind and emotions that is of this world, the more that we free ourselves from that, right? The more it's like easier to have the experience of peace, of bliss, of just to relax and to know who you are there. And that's when we start to get those little tricklings of heaven on earth. And all it means is that you're still in a body. It doesn't mean you have to become religious or become a Reiki master or anything. But if you do, and that's your path, so be it. But the point is that eventually what happens, all heaven on earth is that you're like at peace and you don't need to change anything or anyone. And you don't need to talk about all the things that are wrong in the world all the time, because you realize that you're praying, and where you put your focus is where you're putting your energy. And how is it serving you? How is your health? How is your relationship to time in the world? Because remember, what we teach here and what we're going to review a little bit is that time, when we think about time and space, what I teach in the metaphysics of applied metaphysics, is that time, you create time with your tongue. Everything that you say, you're creating timelines, and you're allowing yourself to either be in the past, in the future, or freed into the now. And the past is everything from 2 minutes ago to 200 years ago. And likewise with the future, 2 minutes ahead, 200 years ahead, 2,000 years ahead, whatever it is. And sure, yes, it's not to say that we all have to be these silent monks and never talk about anything ever or have fun. And I know sometimes you got to let off some steam and be like, ah. And we've talked about putting stuff in bubbles of light so they can be transmuted and cleared and healed, so they don't stick into our aura or run grids through the matrix, right? Through the collective consciousness of the grid. Yet we begin, as we grow up spiritually, we begin to realize, like, oh shit, what I say is actually what I'm saying. I'm saying that to myself, and that affects me and my emotions. That affects my kidneys. It affects my adrenal glands. If you're constantly praying and affirming through your thoughts about how awful the world is, then that's, you're preparing your physical body for the fight that it needs to constantly spritz out. Remember, we did this. When did we do this? I think it was the depression one. I don't know. If I remember, I'll put a link. But, you know, every time that you speak in ways that are untrusting, unforgiving, that anything that causes stress, limitation, or lack, you're saying, I'm afraid. You're saying, I'm not trusting. You're saying, I got to fix it. Something's wrong here. Something's real wrong. And when we do that, the sympathetic nervous system gets the okay to spritz out cortisol from your adrenal glands that sit atop your kidneys. And when you spritz out cortisol, your whole body goes into fight or flight. And what happens is that because of the media, because of the stories, the history of this world, and all of the bad things, right, we can get stuck in that loop. And I'm here to tell you that I used to be in that loop, and now I am free. Fucking loop, you know? But it's like, there's more. There's beyond the loop. There's beyond the loop. It's like a hamster on a hamster wheel. There's more. And so we can honor that, but also understand that, again, the prayers, the thoughts, the power of the thoughts and the prayers, and if thoughts are prayers and prayers are thoughts, the power of those frequencies that you're speaking into your aura, into your body, that you're giving permission to the chemistry of your body, mind, to turn up the fireworks, to make you feel like you got to run for your life, like like fight or flight, like you're always on. When can you relax? When can the body reset? I highly recommend getting into isolation flotation tanks. And there's someone specifically I'm thinking of right now. And I don't know if they've ever been in one. If you're guided, wherever you are, your angels, your higher self, you know, are encouraging you. I'm just doubling down and saying it's a complete life changer. It's a complete life changer. You know, as we move towards greater harmony and greater peace, and understand that we are powerful, we begin to see where it is we can start to make changes. And sometimes those changes are huge, and sometimes they're just little baby steps. And there's no right or wrong, because it's true to you. And when it's true to you, it's the most potent and powerful. And if you never change, it's okay. It doesn't even matter. But if you're watching this, then there's perhaps a reason that these words are coming through me and that you're listening. And again, I'm here to tell you that I used to live in fear of everything on this world, in this world. And I'm telling you, there's more when we heal. And it's all healing. It's all self-love. It's all know thyself. It's whatever practices you're guided to be with that allow you to know thyself. Not the stories, not what you've been taught, not what you've read. Forget all that. Know you without the stories. Know you. Who are you? That's the truth. That's the power. That's the now moment that is unfuckable with, you see. We all have truth. As you know, I teach here that the ultimate truth is that we are really this. We're just white light. But the stories that we tell ourselves about the world, that we are told about the world, that we decide are true to us, is the grid, generated rhythms of interconnected dimensional systems, is the matrix, the collective of consciousness, of all the stories, the feelings, the emotions, through all time, since we have a collective agreement of when time began here for this world, and all the timelines therein, and every experience that everyone's ever had is there. And when we begin to heal ourselves, we begin to de-link from those polarity, from, yes, the polarized aspects that we've been channeling, thinking that that's our truth. And that's maybe your truth. I'm not telling you it's not. But again, I'm here to tell you that there's more. And I'm here to just present the idea that there's so much more in less. There's so much more of you when there's less of you. Okay? So I know we're saying a lot, and it's, I don't know if this show is what you thought it was going to be. Surprise! I have no idea. So let's continue. There's a few more lines here. That's what I was going to say, is that what has happened for me, is that I've gone from this like praying for things to have a certain outcome. And again, no right or wrong, right? We get to where we're going. It's all perfect. For me personally, praying for things for specific outcomes, we all know how that manifests with the law of vibration. Link is below. We learn through asking and asking and asking, and eventually through, for me, the study in A Course in Miracles, to release those things that we need to change and simply correct our thinking. Metaphysically then, energetically, in the invisible realms and all the multi-dimensions that we exist in then, it collapses timelines of all of those thoughts, those past, those presents, those stories, and then all of a sudden you begin to feel yourself sovereign, not bound, not Pinocchio. It's the Pinocchio of I've got no strings. It's not the Pinocchio of like I'm, a puppet on a string. Being navigated by these stories and this information. But really, who am I? Pinocchio, when Pinocchio has no strings, that's when Pinocchio's like, yo, I know who I am. I digress. The point is that what I found is that over time, I'm like, oh, like when this topic came up, and I think ages ago, it's going to be almost at our year anniversary of us doing, I've done a live stream, I believe, every single week since last year. And I think our although we're only at 42, I don't know how that works out. Isn't there 52 weeks in a year? I don't know how that works out. I thought we started last October. But again, all these timelines are disappearing for me. We're going to talk about all that Mandela effect in time. I know that we did a 4D Trinity on prayer last year. And I was thinking about it when my higher self said that we were going to do this one this week. And I thought, oh, I got to go back and watch it, but I haven't. And just the realization of, I realized that it's been a while since I've prayed in the way that I used to pray years ago. Because again, as I've shared, that prayer now is right away is thank you. Or it is the affirmation, it's that focus. And isn't that interesting, the metaphor or the concept that we close our eyes and we bow our chin? Maybe it's with this too, right? There's a looking within to the heart. See, there's a surrender, there's a bowing, there's a reverence to that Holy Spirit, to that pilot light, to that love, to the truth that we are, without all the stories, without all the fear, without all the pain. And I know it's a long road. I just got my bus pass. I just got my free, my hall pass in sovereignty not that long ago, my friends. It took 40 plus years. To heal. There's no right time or wrong time. There's only now. And again, so I keep going around. But if you watch this show, we do that. We go around and then we come back. The point is that I realize it's been a long time since I've asked for anything. And when I was reading A Course in Miracles this week, I was realizing this idea that eventually your prayer changes because you stop praying. You realize that prayer is constant and you stop praying. How can I communicate this with greater clarity? You stop asking for shit. You stop asking for stuff because you know that it already is. If it's the truth in your heart, not from your mind, what you think you need up here to make you happy, but what is the truth? And that's part of the journey of the know thyself. What is that truth? When you commune, when you listen, when you meditate, you relax. That's when your truth is given the microphone. If there's all these baubles and all this stuff and all this loud and all the radio stations of all the stories and all the stuff and all the pain and all the stuff, and I know that's what we're here to do again, 3D. If that's all on, then it's, it's wonderfully distracting from this gentle, silent truth. Our egos talk. Well, what the Course in Miracles would say is that the ego talks loudest, and the ego is rooted in fear, and that love whispers. Love whispers. And that's why we meditate and we pray, if you call it prayer, in silence. And I know sometimes you have a little ding ding music or a little guided meditation, but you know what I mean. And ultimately, because what we're sharing today, that prayer and thoughts have power, and that for what I'm here to share with you is that prayer are packets of faith, and they are affirmations, they are testimonies. You are testifying when you pray. Possibly, think about it, maybe. Thank you, Lord. And you can do it with that kind of zest. Or thank you. Whether it's Lord, whether it's Lakshmi, whether it's Ganesh, whether it's Buddha. Thank you, Buddha, for this peace that I feel. Thank you for all the blessings that reside. I know and I trust that everything is taken care of. You're affirming. And it's very different from asking for something that you think you need. So again, let's go back. Space and time, what we teach here in applied metaphysics. Time is created from your tongue, the words you speak. You're either boxing yourself, can't put baby in a corner, or can you? We corner ourselves all the time when we're speaking without mindfulness, you see. But as we become a master of the tongue, we become a master of our time, and all those timelines start to disappear, and boom, you're in the now moment. You're like fucking sovereign. Pardon my French today. The F word is dropping. It's just dropping. And you're sovereign. And so you stop asking and you start just being in a constant communion with God, with love, with trust. These forms of prayer, or asking out of need, always involve feelings of weakness and inadequacy and could never be made by a child of God who knows who they are, When you know, according to A Course in Miracles, when you know you're a child of God, you're like, psh, unfuckable. I'm an extension of the Most High. That's what's up. What? It's all love, yo. You know, it's like, who can fuck with that? Nothing. 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 I'm telling you from my own experience. Okay. Getting excited here. No one then who is sure of their identity could pray in an asking out of need way. When you know that you're an extension of the Most High, blessings, you're back. Oh my God, it's time. When you pray, again, in a not out of asking out of need way, you're affirming that it's already taken care of, which is a very different way to pray. So it's saying, if you are a child of God, when you really get that, when you really surrender to trusting in a power that is you, but that is greater than you, that has your highest good in alignment. Some people call it Holy Spirit, your higher self, your light body, your Buddha nature, your God, your deity, whatever. It's all love, right? That's what we teach here. And when you're chill with that, then you have to stop asking. You just naturally find yourself not worrying and needing and asking for things that, as you would have in the past. Because believe me, I've been there. Yeah, I needed new tires on the car, you know, like last year. And I was like praying for new tires for the car. And then I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, because I was asking for tires for the car. According to this teaching, I'm reinforcing that I need to ask for it instead of that it's already taken care of. You see, there's this interesting metaphysical shift that happens. And then I was like, oh, instead of me praying fervently, is that the word? For something that I need, that I'm lacking, let me affirm, let me testify. That's what we're saying here. That start thinking about prayer, that you are making a testimony, that you are testifying, right? That you are affirming with faith. So instead of like, God, I really need 4 new tires for the car. I don't know where the money's going to come from. You got to really pull through this time because I'm screwed and I need to go to work and blah, 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 you know, and all the, right? And God's all like, dude, I already know what's going on in your grid. Okay. And so if instead of that, I had like, oh, wait, let me switch this. Thank you. Divine design. Thank you for providing everything that I need. So again, now I'm moving away from just asking for tires, but I'm saying thank you for everything. That's my groceries, my bills being paid, my health, you know, all of the things that we think are important to us. In my book, How to Manifest with the Law of Vibration, we talk about freedom affirmations. And freedom affirmations are affirmations that are like a broad stroke rather than, you know, we're taught with the law of, and I'm not saying one thing is better than the other, but to be aware of how to use both aspects in a combined, aligned fashion is very potent. So there's that aspect about being very clear about what you want, how you want it, just how many square feet your dream home is and what the color of the walls are and the toilet handle is a diamond, you know, and whatever all that stuff is, right? There's that way of affirming. But what I offer in my book, How to Manifest with the Law of Vibration, is this new way, which are freedom affirmations, which are not specific. They are general. They are so broad and open. And in this way, instead of just praying for tires and asking for that one specific thing, thank you, God, love, thank you, my angels, for providing everything I think I need, for providing for me in the most beautiful and amazing synchronistic ways. I am so blessed. How does it get better than this? I pray and I affirm, and I know and I trust that the divine is always working in my favor through people, through places, through things, through circumstances, and I choose to consciously pay attention as I walk in my life, that I may receive the opportunities that you place in front of me. Divine God, Divine Mother, the Virgin of Guadalupe, again, Buddha. So thank you in advance for providing for everything. Thank you. It's a very different way of praying. So again, One or two more sentences here. So it's interesting. It was saying, no one then who is sure of their identity could pray in a way that is asking out of need. Again, this is speaking to those who have realized that they are one with God. Stop praying as if they're separate from God. Yet it is also true that no one who is uncertain of their identity can avoid praying in this way. So it's recognizing that that's a part of the path, that that's how it's not, again, it's not right or wrong. It's not like, oh, you did it. It's no pointing fingers. It's like, it's saying like word. We know that that's how society is. We know that that's how everyone is sociologically, these are my words, you know, brainwashed, conditioned to think that that's how you need to pray, out of need, out of scarcity. And so it's saying like, yeah, we get it. That's you can't really avoid it. That's how you get from A to C, is you go through B. And and prayer is as continual as life. Everyone prays without ceasing, asking, and you have received, for you have established what it is you want. So again, remember there's this aspect of like, and you know, it's very popular in our new agey realms, you know, what you ask for is what you get. Ask and you shall receive. And it's tricky because we think like, ooh, Mercedes, $1 million mansion. I'm saying we, and I really don't know what you think. I don't intend to really project. This is a show. And so I make a little show of some of these ideas sometimes. I just want to be clear about that because I really don't know what you think. And I'm not going to assume that I do. Just for the show of it and for the metaphor, you know, of it all. That we can ask for like all these really amazing, I want to win $5 million in the lotto, you know, and that's like your prayer. Yet a child of God, if you will, a child of love who has that communion as a constant, that have garnered that momentum of living 4D, having one foot in the 3D and one foot in the 4D, bridging heaven and earth in the most beautiful Jack Daniels and Coke. Whatever way is your way, that you bridge heaven on earth, whatever part of the path you're on. You know, the point is that as you come into greater and greater clarity of your truth, you begin to get out of the way. The ego begins to, the tar body begins to get smaller and your light body becomes more and more calibrated. And so when you pray, what you ask for, what you say thank you for, what you affirm for, and really you stop really asking. You start affirming, right? It's just a little shift. But you start affirming, testifying, blessing, evoking, amplifying, activating truth that's already here. So you're not asking for anything out of need. You're saying, oh, I'm more in line with the truth in me than I ever have before. Thank you for this realization of truth, this part of my heart that I'm not sure if I've ever really had the courage to feel in alignment with, that I'm not sure if I've ever really had the faith to even glimpse in that direction. Thank you for this. And the moment that you acknowledge with gratitude that truth in your heart, the moment you create the correct conditions through the tapestry of the matrix, of the collective, of this grid. Here I teach it as the grid, but in collective it's known as the matrix. You create the correct conditions through the labyrinth of your thought and your words to make it so. You don't make it so. And this is what I was saying earlier when I was out having a sageret the other night. The angels were just having so much fun. And anyway, I recorded it or I wrote it down, but I don't know where it is. But it was something like, you don't need to make it happen. Oh, and I see the little spiral is spiraling. So I'm going to wait and say this again, because what I've noticed is that when it does the spiral, is that sometimes it cuts out parts of our conversation. So, okay, it's back on. So, and what it was saying is, You know, you stop trying to do it. You stop trying to make it happen because you realize it does it by itself. And when you allow it, whatever it is, the new car, the new job, the healing, whatever it is, yes, you create the correct conditions for it to manifest in the most high ways, but you're not forcing, and you're not coming from a place or need or want or lack or scarcity. You're simply acknowledging the truth in your heart, and you're saying, wow, thank you. How can I show up for this? God, Buddha, how can I show up for this, my angels? Hey, higher self, I have this vision. You're praying. You're like, hey, higher self, I have this vision in my heart. Show me how I can participate in creating the correct opportunities to allow this to become a reality. You see, your words, your prayers, your thoughts start aligning with that truth in your heart. And that's how we bridge collectively 4D consciousness. We've talked about it as a constellation of consciousness that on one hand is connected to the grid, but on another hand is the ascension point, if you will, that is, and these are just terms because it's all one, but that are, in a mind way of thinking about it, the ascended dimension, right? If we think vertically, here's the grid, the matrix, all the lines of interconnecting consciousness, and then we reach the holy land, the flat line, the 0 point above it. And we start to create our bridge, our crystalline tube activates, we start to bridge what is beyond it. Is that heaven on earth consciousness, that Christ consciousness, trust, the faith, the love. And so, what I'm saying though is that it's all here. And this idea of these dimensions or that it's above it or something is just an idea, but it's really right here. And you take it everywhere you go. You take it everywhere you go. Pardon me 1 second. I have family in from out of town, and I just received a text. So I'm going to check it. So, do you have any comments? You know, I have a very, very dear loved one who I'm very grateful is still here with us. But we've had quite a week, and it's been emotional, and it's been full of love and of light. But my usual preparing for a show didn't happen this week. So we're shooting from the hip. And I appreciate your comments and your input. And we may not stay too long today. We've already been here 1 hour and 15 minutes. So unless you have something that you would like to share, I am going to go ahead and just offer a few more words, and then we'll do a little meditation. So I made some notes on the board last night, though, like last minute, midnight. And I was thinking about aliens and this whole idea of, and this has to do with thoughts and prayers. You know, when I was a child, I remember having a very clear, distinct realization that in not using these words, but that we create our reality. I remember there was a conversation among the kids that were like, oh, you're going to go to hell, or you're going to go to heaven, you're or, you know, when you're like in, I don't know, 2nd grade or whatever, all these things, these words, these ideas start floating around. And I remember just sitting there and watching everyone. I'm like, oh, that's what they believe? Okay, that's going to happen for them. Oh, that's what they believe? That's what's going to happen for them. And there was this realization of like, whatever you think is real for you is what is going to be real for you. And so if you think that doing that, you're going to be bad, you're going to go to hell, that's what's going to happen. If you think the aliens are going to come down and there's going to be World War III, and there's all these stories, there's so many, and it's kind of fun, right? The mythic, galactic, you know, there's a lot of texts that we can read a lot into, you know, story keepers. And again, maybe that's their path. Maybe if those aliens land, that's your path to have with them. And I guess let me rewind. So the point is that I'm thinking about this. It comes to my mind that like the alien thing of, and with the grounding, the basis of like whatever you think is real for you. So if you believe that the aliens, that bad, angry, mean, warring angry aliens are going to come, and that you're going to have to do battle with them, then that's what you're going to experience. And if you believe that the aliens are going to come down and they're like kind of heaven on earth angels, aliens, and they're going to like take you in their spaceship and take you home, right, or just shift dimensions, then that's what's going to happen for you. And so I guess the point that the point I am making is like, whatever you say, honey child, is what is for you. We exist holographically on interdimensional timelines that crisscross over one another. My reality can be completely different to your reality. It's cool when you meet someone that you share realities with. You're like, oh, let's chat, let's party, let's hang out, let's meditate together, let's, you know, do Reiki with each other or whatever it is. Start a business together. I don't know, whatever your grid is in that way. Yet there's constantly millions of different people believing in millions of different things, and we all meld and merge quite fine, you know? And so again, the point is whatever you believe, it's really that simple, and it's not just for aliens. It's not just for aliens. It's for everything in life. Whatever you say, that's what's true for you. If you find someone who's in agreement, then for yous, as they'd say in Dublin, Ireland, for yous, plural, right? But you can bump up against someone who's like, oh yeah, that's not my truth. And it's like, whoa, all of a sudden there's like, really? Yeah. We all have different points. And so, but again, if your thing is like, you got to battle those mean aliens, then that's like where we started, right? With that Instagram thing. Then if you're supposed to go out there and do that work, and that's your truth, enjoy, have a great time. That's your work. If someone else's work is to pray and use their visionary capabilities to hold space for something else, then that's something else. Or if someone else just believes that the aliens, the good aliens, are coming to get them, and these people over here think the bad aliens are coming to get them. It's two different realities, but we do it all the time, you see. And that's what I'm saying, is that whatever your thoughts are prayers, your prayers are affirmations, they're packets of faith, whatever you are defining and testifying as your now moment, receive. And are you putting the past or the future into the now moment, and so not allowing it to be as pure and as potent and powerful in its ability to allow itself to channel through you in greater love, in greater light. Because again, so our beliefs, right? Everything starts as a belief, a story, a belief, but beliefs can be changed. And those beliefs are your thoughts, and your thoughts connect you to the matrix. And remember, so we have this picture, that's a profile of me, and I know there's some glare, but imagine that's the profile, right? Nose, face, and every time you have a thought, a feeling, an emotion, a grid line, a thread line of energy casts out from you, out into the collective matrix, the collective grid of collective consciousness. You are making a choice at every moment that you have a thought, every moment that you make a choice in your thought, in your prayers, in your words, in your actions, in your deeds. You're either choosing love or fear. And the more that we choose love, the more we turn on and calibrate our light body, the more we turn on, if you believe in chakras, some people don't, and that's whatever it is, but the more you turn on your light body, the more you activate, the more you choose fear, the more you're turning on your tar body. There's a very distinct difference. And I'm just here to tell you that there is. Not to tell you that you're right or wrong, just to tell you that you have a choice. But also to remind you that you are making a choice. Every thought. Every thought. So remember, we talked about this, that what I teach here is that time and space, right? These ideas of time and space. The time, the way you experience time is governed by your tongue. If you ever hear people that are constantly saying they don't have enough time, they're stressed, what would happen if they started affirming in a different way about their relationship with time? Space are the thoughts. So if time is if your personal experience of time is calibrated by your tongue and the words you speak, your thoughts create the space in which you experience time, the words that you speak. So if your thoughts and your words are the same, if you don't think there's enough time and you talk about it all the time, and you don't think there's enough time and you think about it all the time, well, whoo, you are aligned in a lack of time. And that's going to be your experience, you know. Probably the tipping point at least will be shifted, that's going to be your experience, like wherever you go. You have to get frustrated, you have to like get stressed, those cortisol, right? Your little adrenal glands spritzing out, everything's not perfect. You know, but again, we're here to tell you that there is a perfect, and it's in the dismantling, for this case, of the time-space continuum and the way that you've been speaking and thinking about everything in your life, especially those things that you value. How do you speak about those people, those places, those things, your body, your health, your finances, you know, your creations, your loved ones? It's just an invitation to like, oh, let's be even more impeccable, even more conscious of how we apply the value of our thoughts, of our prayers. So again, going back to the very beginning of what inspired this, if you're just watching now, I invite you to go back to the very beginning. And this idea of that thoughts and prayers don't mean anything. And sure, if you're just saying, oh, okay, my thoughts and prayers are with you. I mean, maybe there's a glimmer of that serving, of making you feel better, of making the thing feel better. But remember, that's also a grid. If there's a bunch of people that are saying, and I think that might be to the point of what that person posted, is that, and in my words, is that sure, there's a grid for everything. There's a grid of all the people that just robotically say, oh, our thoughts and prayers are with you. But it's not really rooted in a thoughtfulness or a conscious prayerfulness, an affirmation, you know, of positivity that is rooted in the heart and love, that steps out of the way and lets love, quantum organizer, go to work through you for the highest good of all. So there is a grid, you know, of people that, you know, just go through the motions and say, oh, our thoughts and prayers are with you. And that's a thing. And so if you just robotically, our thoughts and prayers are with you, then you're connecting to that grid of all the other people that robotically, our thoughts and prayers are with you. And so sure, that maybe is just running that one grid where there's no real feeling, no faith, no deeper awareness and realization of the potency of the actual thought and prayer, or how far they can go. And again, that's nothing bad. It's just like, oh, until we know that there's a difference, or that we can be deeper with these aspects, or we can go wider with them, we're like, oh, let's expand, you know, like on the screen, let's expand scope of where we're going with all this stuff. So your thoughts and your prayers. God on the God phone was saying, your prayers are your thoughts, and your thoughts are your prayers. As we align, just like in that little metaphor earlier, right? When your tongue and your mind, your tongue and your thoughts are in alignment, right? You shift the tipping point towards creating those realities. And yeah, you can manifest winning the lotto, you can manifest worldly things, you know, no judgment here. What we do invite is the alignment of what the tongue and the mind thinks, that those alignments be in tune with the truth of your heart. And when those 3 points are in alignment, now that's full power and authority. That is full sovereignty, because you're not asking for anything out of need. You're not trying to think of changing things, or how can I fix things? How can I control things? Or how can I hold back? Because I'm afraid to heal, afraid to love. But you open yourself and you allow love to do the work through you. It's huge. It's huge. So we're going to go in. I do have some music. It's actually from YouTube, so I don't know how the copyright thing is going to work. And And I'm going to use the little speaker. We're not doing African piano music this week, but we're going to use, there's this, I've had this on all morning, and it's called, I don't even know if you can hear it, but it's called, I'll put the link, you know what, I'll come back and I'll put the link. It's miracle music. And for any of my crew, my regulars, you know, we did a beautiful 4DT, I don't know, a couple months ago on Power of Water, or I can't remember what the title was, but it was about Dr. Emoto and charging the crystals in the water and being very aware that we are made of water and how to, you know, bless our water. And I guess I'm just sharing with the community that what I've been doing lately is, because I have a pure filter in the fridge, a big pure filter. And, you know, so at the sink, I got to fill it up, and then I go to the fridge and I pour it in. And so while it's filling in the jar, before I, you know, pour it in, I'm saying, like, thank you, miracle water. You are so miraculous. Oh my gosh, we're so blessed to have this miracle water. I'm pouring it in the filter. I'm like, miracle water, miracle water. Thank you, miracle water. And you know what? It tastes different. It tastes even more different from just the usual blessings of the love and the light and the gratitude, and you are beautiful and I love you and all the things that you can say to your water. But the miracle water, I'm like, whoa, got to tell the community about that one. It's been so much fun. So I have this little speaker on. We've got some background music. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. I think our microphone here is going to pick it up. I don't want to turn it up too loud, though. I don't want it to, you know, get too bassy. So we'll just leave it in the background. We're going to do a little meditation. So take your time. Find your comfortable seat. Take a deep breath in and out. Just feel yourself to the best that you can, allowing yourself to relax right here, right now. Connect with your higher self now. Whatever that looks like, whatever that feels like to you, just imagine it's happening right now. And in connection with your higher self, in divine alignment with your higher self. Through your mind's eye and through your heart's eye. Going to close your eyes in this vision of self. And take another deep inhale and a deep exhale. Just relax now. Take another deep inhale. And this time, as you exhale, allow your eyes to open and allow yourself to be in a beautiful, beautiful environment. See yourself. Maybe it's in nature. It's a part of the world you've traveled before. Maybe you're out in the ocean, forest. Maybe you're sitting in your rocking chair on your patio in this vision, wherever is comfortable for you. Imagine the scenery has changed a little bit. You're sitting in this rocking chair, or you're standing in the middle of nature, wherever it is, in alignment with your higher self. And you find a power spot. So maybe it's remaining sitting in that rocking chair. Maybe if you're in a vision in nature, you take a little walk around and maybe there's a stone, a rock that is guided to sit on or next to. Maybe it's a tree, or maybe by the water, or whatever it is. Just allow yourself to be guided by your higher self now. Find your power spot and make yourself comfortable there. Take a seat in this vision at your power spot. The eyes are open in this vision. You're looking around, taking in your surroundings. Look above you and notice what you see. to your left, to your right, and behind you, and just notice what you see. Then bring your awareness just right here, center in the moment. And you just practice. We're going to use this short meditation to practice the exercise of conscious thought, conscious prayer as affirmation, as testimony, as gratitude. It is already taken care of. So with regard to that, bring awareness to your physical body now. And any and all aspects that are seeking healing. Physical ailments, old injuries, whatever it might be, let your awareness just rest there without judging yourself or adding anything to it. Just allow your body to show you 3 main aspects that are ready to be healed. And as your body reveals these 3 areas or these 3 ailments or aspects that are ready to be healed with regard to your physical body, one at a time, allow them to come into your awareness and consciously create your affirmation, your prayer, your testimony, your gratitude-filled thought about it. No limitations, no lack, no scarcity, no needing. Just practice that. All 3 aspects, all 3 areas, doing that right now. If you have a sacred space that you can speak aloud in this meditation. Otherwise, silently within. Time. Speaking as your higher self. If you need help, ask your higher self to help you. Cultivate this language of light. You can speak now moment. You can affirm the Most High over these parts of your body, health of your healing. Once you've said or made your claim for each of these 3 areas, say it again. And maybe even say it in a different way. Begin to expand your ability to speak in light in even broader and broader and broader terms. Just practice this now for a few moments. Allowing these words, these feelings, these frequencies, all those that really resonate as truth for you, feel them weaving themselves through the tapestry that you are, through your cells, your DNA, your muscles, your tissues, your aura. Take a breath in and out. And let it be done. Now bringing awareness to your finances. Just allow yourself to be aware of what your circumstances are now. Not judging or adding any negativity if it's there at all. Simply allow. Maybe there's 3 facets or 3 aspects, 3 areas in your finances that will bubble up for you to cultivate, new thought. It's a prayerful affirmation for these areas, or maybe it's about just creating 3 new prayer, 3 new affirmations, 3 new testimonies of gratitude, financial blessings, or the financial abundance in your life as you would see it. And take a moment now. Just be here with this. Allow your higher self to help you. If you need help, just ask. Ask your higher self. Exercising your silent tongue within, that is the thoughts. And again, maybe you're in a situation, an environment that you can actually use your tongue aloud and speak. Speak your testimony. Speak your gratitude. Even if you're in silence, hear yourself within. Feel how that positive, faithful, activated, rooted in love, prayer, and affirmation affects you from the inside out. Take another few moments, affirming, praying, thinking in the Most High, blessed, beautiful ways, finances in your life now. When you're ready, take a nice deep breath in and a deep breath out. Come to parts of you that you know are true. Maybe it's a dream in your heart. It's a feeling that you know is here for you. Maybe you haven't gotten there yet. Maybe you know you're a race car driver, but in this life you've never driven a race car, but you know that you're good at it. You know that that makes you excited and that it's a natural part of you. So even if you haven't had those experiences, but you know it's true to you, whatever it is, allow your truth, the truth in your heart, not those visions that you conjure with your mind, truth that is already there in your heart. Allow that truth to find you, to bubble up, to become clear to you as much as it can. Let's do this now, just moving out of the way and allowing your heart to show you what is true to you, not your mind, dropping right down into the heart. Let it show you. From these visions of truth, you're invited to say your prayers. Affirmation of gratitude, of testifying, of testimony, in alignment with the truth in your heart, as if it is already happened. As if it's already happening in the now moment. So practice doing that now. Notice how that feels in your body, in your mind, your aura. Taking a breath in and out. Just feeling the resonance, the set points, the beautiful set points you've activated from this little mindful meditation exploration. Allow the resonance of your prayers, of your thoughts that you've cultivated here to continue working with you as the highest good is in alignment for all. And in your vision of self, you'll start to make any little moves that bring you back into your body in your vision, in your meditation. And if you did sit down by the water, by a tree, or on a rock, imagine yourself standing up now. If you're in the rocking chair, just imagine yourself standing up. Maybe a little stretch, a little wiggle. And then turn around to look behind you. And as you do, you see the version of you where you are in this world right now, seated or standing, the room where you reside. You see yourself now. And in this vision, the you that went on your meditation journey that is in alignment with your higher self enters you, just walks right into you, is integrated and aligned, and takes a seat with you. Whatever position, maybe you're reclined, becomes one with you. Feel that beautiful activation of this conscious thought, this powerful prayer, these powerful thoughts, aligned in love, aligned in gratitude, aligned in faith. Feel that frequency activate again through your bones, your cells, your organs, your blood, your consciousness, every level of you, through all of your chakras, your vertebrae, and out through your aura. Take a breath in and out, and know that you are your own miracle. Take another deep inhale, a deep exhale. Feel yourself grounding, connecting into the now moment even more. And one last breath, saying thank you, higher self. And when you're ready, you can start to slowly open the eyes. That was lovely. That was really, really beautiful. So we learned that we're not waiting for someone to save us, and we're not trying to save anyone else. We simply come back to this level of awareness that love is the truth, the only truth, and all the illusion of everything that has distracted us before then begins to fall away. We're allowed to rest in heaven on earth realization. And we take heaven on earth wherever we go. It's not a destination as such, a place to get to. And in fact, in closing, I think there was a little part that I saw here that we didn't read. Prayer is a ladder reaching up to heaven. At the top, there is a transformation much like your own, for prayer is part of you. The things of earth are left behind, all unremembered. There was no asking, for there is no lack. And I know that slightly different to what I teach, in that I teach that the world is different from the earth. But the idea there is that A Course in Miracles is saying that the worldly things, the things that are of our concern, they stop being our concern as we root and align the mind of God, the truth of love. So it is. So grateful. So grateful for this community, everyone. Thank you so much for your love and support. All of my regulars here on 4D Trinity. Thank you. If you're interested, again, in signing up for my monthly love letter, the link is down below. Go to my website. Check out all my books. I have a couple free books for download at iBooks and Kindle as well. what books you can buy. I do receive donations at this channel. There's a PayPal link below. I'm so grateful for all the ways you support. Give it a thumbs up, you comment, you share, and just you being here and subscribing. I really bless and I really love this community, all of my heart. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I pray and I affirm that everything I teach here, everything we share, fully supports and nourishes and fortifies your path of spiritual growth and sovereignty for the highest good of all, and so it is. Namaste. So much love. Namaste.